thank you very much, Jed, for this last presentation, very inspiring in fact, and thanks for putting together a very interesting panel for the discussion today. First of all, because I think, well, you heard about me and you heard about Mark, but you haven't heard about our two other panelists. So the first thing I would like to do first is a quick, shortened roundtable, I should say, with a quick introduction, maybe starting with you, Michaela, introducing you, but also a little bit about your company, Borouge, and where do you play in this value chain of sustainable packaging?
Thank you, Julian. My name is Michaela Mannion. I work for Borouge. We are one of the leading polyolefin producers. So in short, we make the raw material for many of the plastic-based packaging that we've talked so much about today already. We're an Emirati company with our manufacturing factory in the Abu Dhabi Emirate. We have a sales and marketing headquarters here in Singapore, where I'm based. So I'm part of our circular economy solutions team, focusing on bringing circular and sustainable packaging solutions to our markets. So maybe I can start out with a very brief overview of how we at Borouge see our role in the circular economy. What is our approach? We feel that as a responsible company, we do recognize our impact on our environment, and therefore we want to play our part in this value chain. We're convinced that in order to make the circular economy really to become a reality, we have to collaborate all together, and we've heard a lot about collaboration already today. So mainly between the industry, which is us, and brand owners, which we've also seen, and I think it also goes further to its collaborating with governments and, most importantly, consumers. We're all consumers after all, so we personally play a part as well. So at Borouge, we want to add value to this value chain, and we do this by innovating our prime materials. We're developing virgin polyolefin solutions that can help to incorporate more recycled polyolefin in the final application. We develop high-quality recycled polyolefin as well as compounds with recycled content. So along that, we also drive design for recycling solutions. Monomaterials, we've also talked a lot about it, so maybe we can go into this a little bit further, because I think this is really a key driver to circular economy. We're also engaging in sorting and aggregation activities with our partners in the recycling and compounding industries. So particularly with our strategic recycling partners, we're working to bring more value to recyclates, to increase quality and availability. So we've just heard about the quality and quantity gap. So that in short is our business objectives in the circular economy. Beyond that, we're also driving behavioral change through our CSR and community engagements, namely with Project Stop. I hope that some of you have already heard about Project Stop. I can talk maybe a little bit more about this later on as well with our bespoke educational program called Polymers on the Move, which to date has impacted more than 4,000 students in our territory. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll hand over to you, Pascal. Well, I understand you're coming from a bit of a different angle into sustainability, and your business model is a new and rich business model, digital. Maybe it's taking a bit of time to explain. So could you tell us a bit more about your company and how you're planning to play a role in this ecosystem?
For sure. Thank you very much. My name is Pascal Sigrist. I'm the founder and CEO of Recyclium in Liechtenstein, near Switzerland, so far away from here. We are creating, or the vision of Recyclium has been a year ago to create the first global adaptive bounty system for any kind of materials, but of course, most and foremost, single-use plastics, because it's the most obvious and biggest problem we face right now in terms of pollution. So we have seen as well the same impact like the speaker before just have shared, that the deposit systems, they really work. We have proven that in various countries, of course, Germany most and foremost in the world, proven that this works. Quite cost intense with the DRS machines, you know, it requires lots of funding, of course, and often decades of time. And we believe with today's technology, having blockchain as one, by providing people, companies, and of course regulations like ESG reportings, immutable data sets on what has been collected, what has been transferred to recycling facilities and processed at the end of the day, and having the chance as well with today's technology, similar with blockchain, and of course as well with transferring smallest amount of bounties around the globe by hundred thousands of transactions within a minute, it gives us the opportunity to really adapt such a bounty system or a deposit system on different materials, different products. It requires just one, and this is what you just mentioned. We have to act together. Not only the brand owners should be responsible, but of course they have a certain responsibility, which EPR clearly takes in consideration. We have to take as well, definitely, all of the consumers with on board, and we believe we can do a big change while incentivizing people just seeing a real value in these products rather than waste. On one hand, giving them the chance earning some money while keeping their environment clean at the same time. And of course, for all the corporates and brand owners, there is a huge benefit. Where I see the main momentum right now, exactly in EPR, we need data, we need tangible data. And if we just clean the environment is one thing. If we can say, my company, my brand has taken responsibility and taken my own waste out of the system again, I think then we have the impact we really should face. Then we have the reputation which the company has to earn. If it's Coca-Cola, if it's Unilever, whoever, what we create and put in the system, we should be responsible taking it back. And I think that's the aim, what all the companies aiming for. Might the technology has been missing till now.
So if I understand well your colleagues, you explained to me how this all works. You talk about blockchain. They talked about item level QR codes as well and traceability. So is that how this works? Can you say a few words about the technology and, you know, whether, because we'd like to understand whether, you know, tomorrow we can just apply it on a bottle of Coke.
Absolutely. So it could be definitely applied tomorrow on a bottle of Coke, and I would love to start a pilot project with Coke, of course, or with Unilever, with any big brand owners. We are as well, by the way, already in negotiation with various big players on market. We're starting a pilot project with Nestle in Egypt, most likely. It's not yet on paper, but it looks all quite good. Absolutely, the technology is so far ready. It works as simple as this. We need one specific change from the brand owners and from the production facility, which means we need a QR code, a unique QR code on each single item. We provide that QR code, of course. I think today's possibility, after various meetings with packaging producers and brand owners, there is no way or no reason now not to print some unique QR code on a bottle, because printing possibilities are there. We have laser printing systems who can print or even engrave a QR code in a product by 5,000 pieces per minute. So the conveyor belt doesn't even have to stop, and this can be imprinted. So that's really not an issue today's time. After each item has a single unit, unique QR code, it's very simple to track these products. After a consumer consumes the product, it could be a PET bottle, it could be anything else. Of course, we're speaking about textiles, e-waste, whatever we can imagine. It could have a label or a QR code. After consumption of the product, the only thing, the second pillar which is needed, is a smartphone. So the consumer needs to scan that QR code and seeing in the application, oh wow, I'm getting a bounty for that if I return it to a specific location. That can be any store location, it can be any recycling facility direct, or of course it could be in various regions, private people who are not only collecting waste, deciding as well to open up some free space, maybe in a backyard, maybe in an empty garage, and say, okay, I cannot even be a collector, I can even store a few thousand of these specific pieces. And what we of course provide, or what we have at this moment, we have the track and trace system in place in the moment after consumption. That means for Coca-Cola, for example, they would know exactly how many bottles have been scanned right now and claimed from the consumer side after consumption. We know exactly how many bottle has been already transferred to a storer facility. So with which quantities do we have to expect the next week, the next month? So we can not only streamline much better how much products, how much waste is coming to the recycling facility on one hand, we can as well do a diversification of bounties on different specific products. So we heard about different material types today various times. There is different values in different material types, and this can be tagged or tracked via our application and told even in specific regions we are ready to pay 5 cents for this product or 10 cents for another product in a certain time, depending on the need, how much the facility is used right now.
Thank you. I think it was a very thorough and very interesting sales speech. So now maybe I will turn to Mark and just to understand. So there's a couple of things I heard. So of course the technology, but well, it's coming from Europe. The questions I have is, how do you think it would work in our regions? Is this something that you would find interesting? Is Coca-Cola already working on it? I mean, I've seen a few item level QR codes on bottles of Coke already. So is that something that you would consider? And what do you think of the potential of this technology, especially for our difficult countries?
Okay. Thanks, Julian. I think I should sit between the two of them because that's the supplier side, and then I am the FMCG. And
actually, we did not respect the order of the slide. It's not very clever.
Pascal offers an after consumption end of life or a post consumer solution. So first of all, it's good to see supplier partners being more sensitive and having more interest in what brand manufacturers need right now in terms of upping the game on sustainability. I noticed that when it comes to attending conferences or summits like this, you would have a mix of both the brand owners and the supplier partners looking to collaborate on how to make it easier for the brands and the products that we put out there to be able to comply with various types of sustainability standards in different markets. So whether it's more washable material, using less water, or easier to decompose if it's secondary packaging, it's good to see that. And then as to what Pascal was presenting here, I think yes, on our part, we're already doing a certain type or something similar to what he was presenting in terms of using technology or what's available out there right now, like QR codes. For example, in the Philippines, when the additional rPET SKUs were launched this year, during the launch, what was highlighted was scanning a QR code in the label that would point you, the consumer, to where the collection points are. So that's, I guess, one step, which is similar to what the objectives of Pascal's initiative is. But what I see as a gap that we will need to address within that system would be the transport and logistics part. So you could, yes, utilize, or the brand owner can, of course, place the QR codes in the label material, and then you have the smartphone. I mean, everybody's connected nowadays. And then you could be pointed to where you could get the reward and where you could drop it off. It's, from what I've seen, it's the actual efficiencies in transport and collection to bring it to where it's supposed to be processed and recycled that presents a challenging side, particularly here in the region. Fuel costs are high, road networks are not clearly established. So in Indonesia and the Philippines, there was a question about the archipelago setup in certain markets. So this is something that maybe is overlooked or underestimated by these companies that go into the whole recycling initiative, collection, segregation. There's a whole logistics framework out there that I think has a lot of opportunities still.
I understand. Thank you. So, by the way, just a quick note for our panelists. You feel free to react on each other. I mean, I know I can be a bit talkative sometimes, so don't hesitate to interrupt each other or to respond or to interject to your questions. And also to the audience, don't worry, we are not forgetting about you. By the end of the panel session, we'll also open the floor for some questions if you have. So we will certainly take as many questions as you would like. Would you like to respond, maybe, Pascal?
I would love to respond shortly. Thank you very much, Mark, for these inputs. And I totally agree. And I have learned today a lot, and of course in the past year on this journey with Recyclium, that there are definitely many challenges in collecting and of course transferring that waste back to the recycling facility or to another bottling facility in terms of a glass bottle, for example, which could be reused. But what impressed me very much today was at your presentation, seeing actually that mostly in such an archipel situation like in the Philippines, you managed somehow to bring all the products to the last places and each archipel on one hand, and even mentioned that often the trucks drive empty back. So that's the point where I see exactly, if we can plan that, and if we can plan it specifically, while we know how many people have collected already bottles, how many store them in between storage facility or their own garage, we can plan and time that quite good to incentivize them, knowing them, hey, the truck is arriving, by the way, Wednesday afternoon, 2 o'clock. You would be nice if you're there, because then you will get, of course, your bounty, and the mission can be closed right away. Mm-hmm. Our bounty system is not paying anyone just by scanning a QR code simply. So, and that's why I say the consumers must be taken in responsibility, the same like the brand owners, of course, or the producers. So if I collect a bottle, that's not the job done. I have certainly to move from place A to B on one hand. I have to bring that bottle to a store facility or a collection point. And even then my job is not done. The mission is over when Coca-Cola has access to their own separated, clean, collected raw materials. Before that mission hasn't been completed, in my opinion, or in Recyclium's opinion. So even having dropped the bottles, the 10, the 15 bottles which I collected to a storer, I should get only part of my bounty. Mm-hmm. And the other part should be released at the moment the storer facility transfer that to the recycling facility. And you getting your data, proven, immutable data on blockchain, best case, so you can really prove that to ESG, and you need it for ESG reports, and of course as well for EPR claims maybe in a later stage, to guarantee that product has been really recycled from Coca-Cola itself or from a partner you of course choose. And I believe together, and that's why this main topic, working together as producers, as brand owners, and as collectors, as humanity, that's key, because not one of them can solve the problem. And of course we need brands like Coca-Cola, like Unilever, PepsiCo, Nestle, who are taking the chance, the momentum of the need of data right now, and having a chance to incentivize people all around the globe with ease, maybe even giving that to an external partner like Recyclium, not doing it yourself. Give it to an external partner, taking care of that distribution of bounty, of that incentive, but going as well with a campaign hand in hand, because without the campaign of the big brand owners, that will never succeed. So my project is nothing without the big brand owners, but I believe the other way around, without using or utilizing the technology today's time availability, as well for the big brand owners, it will be difficult, because these difficulties are there. Even you have done an incredible progress, and what we saw today from Coca-Cola specifically in the Philippines, I mean, that's mind-blowing what they have achieved already.
I like the comment of looking at the inefficiencies of the current transportation and logistics systems, and potentially implement optimization solutions. Backhauling, for instance, we can actually probably get a lot of savings from optimizing this, and in fact finance part of the rest of the applications that we would like to drive for more sustainability. But we've seen, I think in our presentations a lot, that the cost of operation is one of the most important challenge. I would like to maybe turn back to Michaela and on the supplier side, looking at the challenges themselves. What is, from a supplier point of view, the most important challenges that you see in implementing sustainable packaging or deploying sustainable packaging faster in our economies today?
Thank you, Julian. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges is a topic that we've touched upon today already, and that is with only, let's say, within, I'm from being from the polyolefin industry, so I'm talking within the plastics packaging scope. So within that universe, the options to design packaging more sustainably are fairly limited. So that means if we have limited options and in terms of mechanical recycling of good quality, also limited quantity, it comes with a higher price tag, and the inefficiencies are exactly in logistics. It's in collection, aggregation, reverse logistics of the feedstock. So all that drives the cost up, and we've learned today that the willingness to pay of consumers is also limited. There seems to be a bit of wiggle room, but it is rather limited. And I like the shout out from my colleague at Savik. Can we get a bit more margin? It's not an easy situation. So I think this is one of the major challenges that we really see. How can we distribute that? Either how can we reduce the overall cost in the value chain, and then the remaining portion of the cost, how can we distribute that fairly across the value chain, so that every partner takes their fair share. And I think with collaborative approaches, for example, and also the use of technology, I've learned a lot today as well, we can hopefully find an equilibrium that can at least mitigate this impact until we have a good scale to find a price point that works for everyone in the value chain.
May I very shortly? I completely agree with every word you said. What concerns me a bit, and I'm coming from the perspective as a visionary, as a tech company, let's say, but my vision doesn't come from wanting to be a tech company owner, right? So the vision comes from much deeper within. And if I'm seeing or hearing all the time the margin topic, that confuses me a bit. I'm an entrepreneur as well in different industries, so of course margins are a topic. But we have at the end of the day to understand we have this problem, we have it on global scale. We have regulations being in place, the brand owners committing to different targets they want to reach. That's on one hand marketing. There is a lot of real willingness, of course, inside, which is amazing, and we see that, we feel it globally. I'm speaking now as a consumer, and I think it's remarkable what has been done so far. But change doesn't come for the same cost in no industry. Not by facing the biggest problem in Earth's history with the pollution and ever-growing pollution if we don't start to think and work and act circular. So I believe as well consumers, and here I bit disagree. I have today in the morning you have shown this incredible foil where we have seen usually by a green premium product, the brand owners add 80% of the price tag. I mean, that's insane. That's really a lot. But we know all consumers are ready maybe to or willing to pay 10 or 30% more. That's already quite a gap. And I think with this money can be done a lot. But at the end of the day, the margins shouldn't drop massively. But maybe we have to be both ends being ready for a compromise. The consumers maybe have to just understand if we want to solve this global issue. And at the end, it's the consumers, next generation, who will thank us now to rechange regulations and standards, and maybe even the price tags on products. So we have to pay a bit more for a product, and now we can definitely as well split this topic in rather using bounty systems while we incentivize as a brand owner just the person bringing me back my trash on one end, or we just use it as a deposit system, which was mentioned just before. And that's what actually works in all the countries mentioned in the previous panel, right? So this money mustn't be paid from the brand owner. It should be paid by more work, going an extra mile as a brand owner, as a recycler to process materials, but definitely it should be paid as well from the consumer side. And I wouldn't on that end ask the consumer too much, because if I ask anyone, are you willing to pay more? He will always say no. That's clear. If he just has to pay more, but he loves the Coca-Cola because it's really nice and it has made him happy the last 30 years, he will as well buy it tomorrow, even if it's 10 cents more expensive.
Maybe we should ask Mark his view on how to convince the consumer and what Coke is doing to help the consumer understand the benefit of sustainable packaging. And of course, there is the price equation and the willingness to pay. This is for marketing people. But the reality is, at some point, the consumer behaviors also have to change, whether it's for price or whether it's for the way they consume products. I know Coke is very advanced in understanding consumer trends, is in understanding and providing services to consumers and products. So what do you think is the opportunity there, especially in our regions, to drive the consumer towards this new consumption method?
Great. I think a lot of what we've heard today, there are a lot of similarities from all the initiatives that we've heard today. If I can share and go back to what I was presenting earlier about the campaign to recruit more customers and consumers to join segregation and recycling. One, you have to inform them that plastic has value. It shouldn't end up as waste. Right. It can be recycled in different types of recycling forms, and output will be different depending on the type of plastic that you are discarding or segregating or throwing away. And as brand owners, I think there is that very strategic position to be able to reach a lot of consumers in a way that they like to learn. So we are leveraging on this, and you're correct. We do have a pulse of the market that we're serving. So in terms of the campaigns and the programs that are being put out there, and we're seeing a lot of it from a lot of brands. But there is no one size fits all for any market. Even in the Philippines, you go to a mega city, what will work there will not work in a provincial or rural setting. So it takes a lot of commitment and variation of campaigns and programs, but at the end of the day, you're guided by the same principle of trying to have a more sustainable way of doing business so that you can keep doing what you're doing more environmentally sound, and you're more contributing more to the protection of the environment. So in the example I was showing earlier with the collection programs from communities, I was discussing this with Pascal on the side. There are different exchange rates, for example, when you incentivize consumers in different areas. For example, if it's just a store that's there every day in their community and the collection bin is there, maybe the exchange rate is a bit, lower. You need to bring half a kilo to get a bottle of Coke. And in their mind, yes, I can segregate this and set this aside and wait for the junk collector to pass by my house, and he'll give me a few pesos for the half kilo or 1 kilo plastic. But then maybe over the years, they really didn't see a value in that. I mean, unless they accumulated a lot of kilos of the PET. But then when we launched the program, what we saw that was working was the immediate gratification of getting a Coke product for half a kilo of plastics. So they don't need to worry about what can I buy with 10 pesos. So, okay, I bring this to the store, I get my Coke, I'm okay. I contributed. I have that. I feel that I contributed to the cleaner community and cleaner environment. But it will work differently if you bring it to a mall, for example. For example, if it's Halloween and you have an event in a mall, very upscale, you hype it up on social media that you're going to have a collection program there, and maybe you increase the exchange rate a little better. You say for a kilo you get a Coke and a bottle of water, a Coke and a chocolate drink. And you'd be surprised. They actually do give it enough time to prepare for it. So also using social media, all the channels available out there to rally the consumers and the customers. And we're getting good results there. So I think it's the power of the brand, the power of how we are able to communicate to our customers. And a lot of the brands are doing this. So I think we are on the right path. We're starting out. Some are more advanced, some are just starting. But yeah, seeing positive and optimistic.
All in all, it sounds pretty good news for Pascal's value proposition.
Yes.
So let's see what it gives. I'd like to maybe come back to one of the topics we discussed in a number of those presentations today, and a bit earlier with you, Michaela, was the concept of collaboration and partnerships. Because we see a lot on all these disruptions that we are seeing today, and not just the sustainability trends, but also on the digital angle, digital trends, that not everything is possible within the four walls on one single company. And companies have to reinvent the way they set alliances, ecosystems, and partnerships in order to innovate quicker, better, or be more relevant in the market. So you raised the question of collaboration and partnerships. I would like to understand from your point of view, what type of partnerships are you looking for, and what would you expect from your partners in order to best play your part in the ecosystem? And by the way, I'll ask everybody of us, because in fact, we all come from a different point of view. So I think it's important to understand what each of us we think about it. Starting with the packaging supplier.
Thank you. So in our business, we form collaborations in, let's say, touching different areas of our business. So in one area, of course, we collaborate with brand owners, with converters, so packaging manufacturers. We use our material, as well as coating suppliers, ink suppliers as well, to craft monomaterial packaging solutions that are ready for recycling. So, and that's all. And one challenge that we try to address with the collaboration, where everyone brings in their best knowledge, and I think this is one of the expectations, bringing in the expertise from different angles to design packaging that is, let's say, simpler in the structure maybe, but still performs the same, or maybe even a bit better than the incumbent packaging consisting of multiple materials. So that means the expectations or requirements towards the packaging they're very high, and particularly those who pack products, you will know yourself. So finding the solution and doing this at in a cost-effective and environmentally sound manner, I think, is one area where we collaborate. The second big collaboration area that we're driving a lot, or have been driving a lot over the last 3 years, is collaborating with mechanical recycling companies throughout Middle East and APAC region to add more value to the recyclates, to increase the quality of the recyclates, and also increase the availability. So this is another big bucket of collaborations that we're actively seeking. And what miss in that portion of collaborations is finding more suitable feedstock for our partners. So this is the shout out.
Okay. Back to you, Pascal. Well, you're going to set up an ecosystem of brands, of transportation companies, of stores, you call them, so those entities. So how do you plan to create this ecosystem, and what do you expect from those partners to make this a success?
At the moment, we are speaking to, I would say, around 80 different companies in various sizes. Of course, we go top down by the biggest players in various regions, even on the planet. And what we are looking mostly for is really the biggest brand owners in the world being willing and open for pilot projects to showcase the world the willingness to transform, firstly, in the next tech level, next tech step in their journey, and on the other hand, making it possible, being really single units product being tracked for their own purpose, for their need of data, of course, and of course, doing the incentivizing of the customers, which is already happening. Even with a Coke bottle, for 10 Coke bottles, that's amazing, and of course, very cost effective. Would be a bit harder by Electrolux, so the Electrolux oven who is coming back cannot be paid with another Electrolux oven, so we would have to find other solutions in that end. That's why our product scope or industrial scope goes way further, of course, than single-use plastics. We believe that as well in terms of collaboration and partners, we are speaking, of course, as you said, as well to the biggest recyclers and, of course, various existing store facilities already in place. For example, in Dubai, in the MENA region, the BIA Group is a big company with whom I have next week meetings, who already pick up, trash and waste by household, as well by companies, by malls, and of course bringing that to recyclers. But these companies asking us the same. They want to have a track and trace system. They need to guarantee that the waste which is being picked up in this certain country or in a specific area is not ending at the end of the day in Bangladesh on a burning site. Yeah, that's the point. So this track and trace is important for the brand owners, as well for reputation of the recycling facility, of course, and for government regulation purpose. And that's why I believe everyone is already in place. It's now just the question with whom to start for a pilot, and of course then more existent infrastructure is there, then easier. And that's why I think the Philippines is such an incredible point, because you really do your own bottle-to-bottle recycling, which is, of course, as we heard today, a very special case. That's even for Coca-Cola standards, not the standard in the world yet, but it's a standard in the Philippines, and that's why very important. I think then closer we are by this infrastructure, then easier it will be to implement such a system. And of course, that goes in our case cross-industrial. We're speaking to pharma industry, the same like to single-use plastics producer, and of course, e-waste producers or electronic producers. So that goes far beyond. My vision is, and the hope is, that on one day, the next generation, or maybe the after next generation, will not remember times where our waste has been ending up in oceans, and the kids might ask us and say, what, really? There has been times where Coca-Cola bottles were lying in landfills or in rivers? I mean, that's insane. There is a real value. Why should you do that? And we might explain them, yeah, in that moment they didn't have a value yet. Now we created one. But we all have to pay for it. That's absolutely obvious, and do something.
So I'll finish the roundtable on the partnerships with you, Mark, on the position on the brand owners. What would you expect from your partners in sustainability as Coca-Cola in the Philippines? In terms of the way they serve you, what they provide you, the way they collaborate with you as well.
Okay, I think on our side, we're guided by three main pillars or principles when it comes to partnerships and collaboration and with our sustainability program. It's design, partner, and collect. So design, of course, is with our suppliers, and the innovations in design packaging, the shift from green to clear, Sprite, phase out of packaging material that we cannot have a recycling solution at the moment. So design on one end, and then partnership and collection on the other side. I would add a fourth one, which is the recycling investment that we had with Indorama to actually bring a solution to the Philippines, not just for Coke, but for the Philippine community. Yeah. And the biggest hurdle that we've based on experience so far is the collection part within that whole circular economy. So as a brand owner, you create and then you sell. Consumer appreciates your product. The recycling is already there. We did the investment, but the hardest part is the collection. And this is where you work with as many parties, I believe, as are willing to help out. And A good note, though. I've gone around with speaking with a lot of different parties who, whether it be accounts, local governments, national government, NGOs. I have never heard anybody I'm talking to say, I don't want to participate in a sustainability campaign.
Correct.
Okay, everybody wants to participate. It's just a matter of finding how will it work for what we have here. So I think that's the three main guiding principles there, and it really differentiates what you have to do with certain partners. So design with suppliers, with governments, NGOs, accounts. It's more collection and what works, and then with academia also. Our partner in Rama has a very good campaign to educate a lot of students on what's recycling, not just PET, all recyclables and environmental stewardship. We're trying to bring that program from Thailand to the Philippines. I'm actually suggesting that we charge students a gate fee of like half a kilo of PET if you want to see our recycling facility. That's your ticket to enter. So yeah, a lot of programs, and it's good. We're able to leverage on our strength as a brand owner and our marketing skills also with that one.
Maybe as a final question in our roundtable before we open the floor for another set of questions, I'd like to maybe ask your view on the picture of success. Like what would be maybe not so far away, 1 or 2 generations, but maybe let's say in 5 years. I would like to understand what you would consider us together being successful in implementing new sustainability solutions. So what would success look like in 5 years? Who would like to answer first? Pascal, please go ahead. You've already given us the long-term vision, so let's be a bit more short.
I think if we have to drop it on 5 years, I have a very strong feeling, to be honest, that our planet is facing more problems than just sustainability. What we see right now happening on the planet, it's going far beyond sustainability and circularity. So if we can reach in the next 5 years, as you just mentioned, Mark, making everyone on that planet aware at least of the problem, educate them in the manner that it's standard, that products have a value proposition, and that we have to work together to solve the issue. I think that's already a big aim. If we can reach that, and for this I think we don't need much more, because the regulations are in place in almost every country. We need now the 5-6 biggest brand owners of the world standing to their words and their commitments, which they have done already, and going ahead with their already existing building awareness, what they do out there, but maybe a bit more, using their brand power, because this is so much power we often underestimate. I think even the brand owners themselves underestimate often which power they actually have. Used the right way, and then we can really change the world.
Great, thanks. Mark, for you, the picture of success in 5 years, what would it be? What can we wish to happen?
In 5 years, okay, I'll relate it to what I was presenting. Maybe more RPET usage for brands in the Philippines, and done by choice, not just by regulation, and to be able to make that choice, not just for PET bottles, but whatever is available for them. Better stewardship, because it will translate to better stewardship of resources, in my opinion. If you can keep, as what was presented earlier, if you can keep the same material within the loop over and over and over again, then you also take care of consumption from other resources that, as Pascal said, sustainability in terms of FMCG companies is not the only problem we're facing. There's a lot more that we have to marshal and manage for generations to come. So I suppose for me, companies by choice moving in the right direction and not by regulation or not by penalty or by force of law, that would be an ideal picture of success for me.
Thank you. Michaela, back to you for the last conclusion on this one. What's the picture of success in 5 years for a packaging company?
For me and Borouge, I suppose it's probably be the aim of and here flexible packaging, because I know that's a big pain for many in plastics packaging, to be recyclable. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of innovation going on down the line, a lot of development work within the collaborative partnerships that we're forming to really achieve monomaterial packaging solutions that are fit for purpose for all the required applications. Because that again will hopefully help us to feed our recycling ambition, where we're looking to really have recycling partnerships, our recycling companies who are then receiving enough feed to serve customers at the right price points.
Okay, thanks. Thank you very much. Before I thank you all, because I wanted to, as promised, give the floor to the audience for a couple of questions maybe. I'm guessing we may have 5 minutes. Is there any question in the room? Yes, over there. And please indicate to who, especially if it is targeted, or if it's to everyone. That's going to be to everyone.
This is addressed to the whole panel, and I think a number of times we've talked today about the difference between, or the cost delta between virgin versus CRP, okay? Is there any concept being discussed at any level about the true cost of virgin production? Because can we, or conversely, what's the true cost of disposal, okay? Because if we actually understand the true cost and the true impact, and we're having to pay for that, or consumers are having to pay for that, I see that flipping the equation between virgin and post-consumer recyclate the other way. And I'm wondering if technology, and probably this, Pascal, this is to you, whether we can track that, the technology can help us track that so that it's a user-pays system.
I mean, absolutely, technology is able to track that, and I think then more expensive in the later stage packaging material will get, then more key it will be to track it down the road. That's one of the biggest aims at my point. So even if I hear RPET, various innovations coming into place, that's even better for all of us, because then more value we give to the packaging, then more interest will be, of course, at the end of the day, getting it back. I cannot tell an exact equation what it would cost exactly, but I'm telling another question to myself or to the whole audience, including you. You know, how much is it worth for us? I don't, honestly, me as a consumer, I don't care how much the packaging will cost. We have only one planet. Resources are finite. And that's the point. So if it's 10 cents, 20 cents more, maybe I'm speaking now from a very rich perspective in that manner. I can afford this 10 cents, but at the end of the day, we are living on a very, very high standard all over the world, because when we speak about consumer goods like Coca-Cola, which is a wonderful product, making many people, millions of people every day very happy, if I have to pay a bit more for it, I still want to be happy, you know? And that's why we have to stop thinking, what is the difference to the previous model we had? We have to think, what can we do right now to secure that we still can drink Coke in 10 years, right? That's what we are aiming for, and that our kids can have the same pleasure like we had. So we don't have to accuse or oppose companies for what they have done. We have rather to say, are we ready to make a compromise in consumption and, of course, in terms of payment for it?
Thank you. Any further question to the panel? Not sure I see everyone. No? We're good? Great. So thank you very much. Well, first of all, thanks to the panelists today. I think it was a fascinating conversation. You made my job very easy. So thanks a lot for this, for your ideas and sharing your experience and your vision for the future. I think it was a very interesting and also very inspiring conversation to conclude the day. So I'd like to also thank you as participants for your questions and for your attention. Probably before we go, I would hand over to you, Jed, for a final word, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
Julian. Yeah. And thanks to all the panels. Okay.